And I fell into that trap, man, and I'm completely real about that. It's the biggest mistake I made in my life, you know? No joke.
Actually, Merijn, I would never recommend you to do a PCT like this. What's up guys, Freddie here from WolfingPhysique.com, and today we are reacting on Merijn, his latest video about his why I decided to quit TRT and my experience. He's talking about his PCT, his post-cycle therapy, which I wanted to address some things about that. And next to that, yeah, just reacting to the video because I just like the shit. And while you're here, like the video and subscribe because most of you watching fuckers are not subscribed. So what are you doing? Subscribe. So I'm just gonna sip my monster and put it on 1.25, no, 1.5 speed, and let's watch it.
And today's video is about Merijn.
Oh, I'm not taking steroids, I'm just on TRT. It's kind of the same thing.
First thing I noticed is how this guy is looking more saucy.
He's not natty anymore.
He has reached
He's not natty anymore.
his normal genetic bodybuilding potential.
Well, there you have Steven DeVos from the TRT and Hormone Optimization channel. This is actually part of a video that is for me, but he didn't put me on it, asshole. No kidding. But yeah, I had Steven DeVos on my YouTube channel, and we were talking about Merijn and yeah, the TRT in YouTube fitness. It was highly educational, and I really recommend you guys to follow Steven and his channel. I'll link it down below. And also, if you want to watch the video I did with him, it was highly valuable for me, and I really like talking to the guy. It's an awesome guy. So over here in the cards. So watch that shit.
Like, can you really claim your medical need for TRT based on the fact that you're basically starving yourself?
More likely that dieting to an extreme level, yo-yo dieting, more likely to cause of your lower testosterone.
Somewhat substantial decrease in testosterone that individuals, primarily bodybuilders, experience when they diet down.
He has been very lean as well, always has been. I guess it was normal for him to get low T levels. The choice then would be, or I will be less lean, I will eat more, higher body fat levels, but he made the choice to go on TRT.
I don't want to be dependent on a substance for the rest of my life.
Merijn's physique already way above the average person. Most people dream to look like Merijn, natural, but he wasn't happy with that because you get caught up in what's going on the internet.
Yeah, that's really true because I gotta say, most natural guys, you can look so good natural. I am serious. A lot of guys, they use shit like Tren, Clenbuterol, I don't know, DMP, name it, all kinds of bullshit that you actually do not need. You only have to suffer a little bit through the diet. And when you're natural and you're dieting thing to the extreme to get really shredded, it sucks. And I saw the videos he made when he did that, and I can relate so hard to him because the time that I shredded down, I talk about it all the time, I know. But that was an experience, bro. That was a real experience, getting to such a low body fat where your freaking glutes are shredded, natural. It's insane, the amount of cardio that I did, the amount of steps that I made, the low amount of food that I ate, and my testosterone levels crashed to the absolute ground and below. They crushed to hell, even below the ground. So that is so, I just cannot describe the feeling of having such low testosterone levels where you feel like shit. It's just, I just can't. If I would have to live with such low testosterone levels for the rest of my life, like in the 100 nanograms per deciliter shit, I don't know, bro. Is it really worth living then? I don't know, bro. Just, I would bless myself for sure.
A fucking saucy yacht right there.
All right, guys, we have a lot to talk about today. In the meantime, you guys will see some videos together with my dad. Really awesome video series. Definitely April, May. That's when we started his transformation, you know. So that was before I hit the point of burnout, actually. But anyway, today I want to talk about something important, and this is the most important thing I want to talk about. That's why I want this to be my first video coming back and talking to you guys, because I decided to quit testosterone, TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, as many of you guys know, which I started right now. It's about 1.5 years ago. Today I'm going to talk about why it was a mistake, why I decided to do it back then, what my thoughts about it now, how I'm feeling, how I'm recovering, and all that stuff. So first, let's get into the reasons why I decided to use TRT in the first place. So there are two main reasons, and one was for my mood and my depression-like feelings. That was one of the reasons. How did that start? When I was 19 years old, I started my career, and I started making YouTube videos, and I started to get into the fitness game, and I built a really big name for myself internationally.
It's actually funny that you think that with a guy that has money and has made a name for himself, that you're asking, why are you depressed? Why the hell are you depressed? How is that possible? People have it worse, bro. It's like there are people in the world that experience worse shit and they aren't even depressed. But it's just the overstimulation of the good shit in life. It just gets old eventually. But the other thing is, what he mentioned is that he thought that TRT could help his depression-like feeling. But yeah, depression, it all has to do with the brain, with your neurotransmitters and stuff. The brain is really complex, and I think it's one of the most hardest things to really understand, and the research on the brain is insane. There's a lot, and there's a lot we do not know. But there's one thing, I just read a study about this. I'm not done reading it, and so I just do not really want to talk about it that much, but I have this client who has a TBI, traumatic brain injury, and testosterone prevents cell death, apoptosis in the brain after such a traumatic brain injury. So let's just say it's possible, guys. If you hit your head so fucking hard on something, I don't know, the feedback loop to your balls, like the hormones, luteinizing hormone and the follicle stimulating hormone, tell your balls, make it very simple for you to understand. Hey bro, we gotta make some more testosterone. That's what your balls do. That's why you have balls. If you castrate a dog or something like that, it's like very chilled out and low testosterone. If it has balls, it could be more aggressive, right? But I just don't want to, compare humans to dogs, but you know what I mean and where I'm going with this. But it is mentioned that testosterone could really help these people with TBIs, for example. Because you have low testosterone, you have a high chance to be depressed. I felt this as well when I was really shredded. I had this weird feeling in my head where everything in life just sucked. I don't know, man. It was like, didn't really give a shit. It could also have to do with your low estradiol and stuff. Yeah, I could talk about it the whole day, but this video will just take too freaking long. So I will just go on with the video.
Which was all, it's crazy, man. But after like multiple years, a lot of things, came on top of that. I started hiring people, started, growing my team, started growing the business like exponentially to different levels. And that also came with a lot of responsibility and a lot of different tasks that were on my plate. And whereas, I just started out as a adventurous kid who was like shooting videos and, building the small business to like, a bigger business owner and having to, do all these different things at the same time, right? So my life started to be completely different. That's something that can happen. Obviously, we change in life, and that's what I realized during the burnout. I realized a lot of things, where I want to go in my life. But the point I'm trying to make is, at some point, I was, still working the 100 hours. It's not necessarily a problem, but I was putting a lot of hours into things that I didn't necessarily want to be doing, or didn't really like, or weren't aligned with what I wanted. And then it really started to feel like work. And this is when, I started stressing a lot. And so combine that with a lot of outside pressure from social media and all those things. We see a lot of people now, because of social media getting depressed, like put that sort of pressure on top of that, what people expect of me.
People describe a burnout. I really just think back to the time that I was dieting so hard. And I know I'm talking about it again, but it's true because I literally said, when I was like training in the gym over here, a good friend of mine came up to me and felt like, how are you feeling? I thought, I truly felt like shit. I was doing the leg press. And he was standing there and I said, the best way to describe how I feel is like, let's just say there was a big fire in the gym and I could burn myself to death and you have to get out really quickly. I literally felt like, do I really have to stand up? Will the fire spread to me? Can I just keep sitting down? That's exactly how I felt, and I could sleep the whole day. I just didn't want to do work anymore, and that's true. It sucks.
And then all the people that I'm working with, the changes in my business, stacked with like less sleep and chronic stress, and always being lean, for the Instagram and for YouTube. I just wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't sleeping a lot. I wasn't trying to raise the levels naturally, but instead I hopped on a hormone replacement therapy in order to fix the problem. I just didn't want to like be stuck somewhere, and that same feeling of being stuck somewhere, same thing happened with training. Because I was training for 10 years, I hit my natural limit, some people will say like, no, you didn't hit it. If I hit it or not, I was certainly freaking close, you know? And you can see that by all the times I was cutting down the last couple of years, 2 to 3 years, I was always looking sort of the same. You know, I wasn't really making gains anymore. I was certainly trying, wasn't really making gains anymore. And to me, it was like, this is my job. So you have to realize that, you know, next to all the incentives of like, you know, I want my mood to be great because that's, you know, what I heard from other people that were doing testosterone replacement therapy, better mood, you know, less depression. So you have more energy again. So all those things made me just, you know.
You know, a lot of times people think that testosterone replacement therapy fixes all the problems you have in life. I know enough guys that did first cycle of taking tren or something and yo-yoing up and down in weight and stuff and being depressed and all that shit. That guy's on TRT for life. He did his PCT and he just didn't want to finish it because he felt like shit. So for some people, it's just not worth it and they just like the TRT, but it doesn't solve all the problems. I know, I'm a natty guy who doesn't know shit and I'm not a doctor, but if it comes down to research, I think I can call myself Chad. I saw this meme coming by about Chad and comparing himself to medical doctors. It was funny, but I'll put it over here. But testosterone will not solve all your freaking problems. Some problems are just not due to your low testosterone levels.
Yeah, they just convinced me to do it back then. You know, and then you have to...
And it's very honest of him. I really like the honesty of this guy because he says it was his job and, you know, he took the easy way out. It's true, he didn't want to raise it naturally. He didn't need to say that, but he actually freaking does. So you gotta
realize that there's a financial incentive for me as well, which is a lot different from other people. And that's what I said on the video when I started also. Like, I don't recommend this to you guys. You have to realize that I'm making a lot of money with this, you know. Now, what is the problem? The problem came a bit later. So when I started taking it, you know, I thought that was right. I thought it was the right thing to do. And yes, for a bit, it solved the problems that I had, you know, but it didn't solve the underlying problems, which is what I figured out over a year later. It solved the problems of, you know, having less energy and feeling depressed, and it solved those things for a little bit. I started feeling, yeah, more energy. I could sleep less, you know, so I could work more. And this is where the problem started, you know. I could sleep less, I had more energy, I could work more, and I started to work even more.
So that's the funny thing about the TRT or testosterone replacement therapy. It's very different. Like, let's just say if you're natural and you have high testosterone levels, when you test it in the morning, like your total testosterone, for example, and it comes out to the high end of the reference range, like 800 or 1000 in the Netherlands. It's possible here, but let's just say it's 800 in the morning. You would think, that's high testosterone, but maybe the rest of the day it's lower, and that's normal when you're natural because your body releases testosterone in a pulse-style manner. It's not like this chronic line of having the same high testosterone levels constantly. So for him, it was beneficial. He could work more, didn't feel tired in the morning, for example, because let's just say, if you're natural, if I sleep shit one day and I wake up in the morning, I have low testosterone levels. If I eat shit, I have low testosterone levels when I wake up, for example. They are lower than they need to be because it's released in a pulse-style manner. If I work out, you increase testosterone. When you work out too long, it decreases testosterone. But if you're doing TRT and you're injecting testosterone, like the same dosage, like 2 times a week or something like that, it's different because you constantly, no matter what you do, if you sleep shit, you have this line of testosterone that is high. So it's very different, even though it's testosterone replacement therapy.
When you logically think about it, I was already like working so much, and like there is a limit to the body, you know, but to the body and the mind. And I didn't take care of myself again. So I started taking it instead of looking for ways to naturally raise my testosterone levels, because that could have been possible, but it would have most likely just taken a long time, at least in my head. You know, in my head, I was so into the success game. It might be hard to explain unless you're in a situation like that and you run your own business and you're in this state of just constantly go, and so I felt like this was the right thing to do. But then I started working even more, and this is when, you know, the problems like later came in. And so after about a year, even less, you know, I just started to experience that stress again that I was before, and that stress became more chronic stress, and then until the point of burnout. I talked about this in the other video, and this is when I realized, like, I started taking it, you know, a lot mainly for.
It's very interesting if you look at successful entrepreneurs like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos and stuff. I talked about it with Dr. Kyle Gillett, who was a representative of Merrick Health from Derek More Plays More Dates. He's a very knowledgeable medical doctor. I highly suggest you following as well. But I actually made a video with him about this, that successful entrepreneurs, they definitely do stuff to make them feel better. And that's just the truth. Just look at Jeff Bezos, for example. I will not get into a tangent about that, but if you want to look at that, watch it over here. It's highly interesting. Dr. K. Gillett is highly knowledgeable about this stuff.
For my mood and for, you know, not getting those depressed feelings, but just like feeling good all the time. And life is just not like that, man. Life is just not feeling good all the time. That's the reason why my levels were low. I did not actually tackle, you know, the underlying problems. I did not tackle those. So I could have started by sleeping more. I could have started by working less, but I wasn't willing to sacrifice, you know, doing less work, or to sacrifice, you know, my body, the leanness, because I make a lot of money with this as well, you know. So there's different incentives for me, as I already said. And this is why back then I thought this is the right thing to do. I got to do this for my career, you know. And then the personal aspect is that I wanted to do it also because it would make training. It's going to be another plateau, you know. So you get your natural limit, and then you start using testosterone. Maybe you go a little bit above your natural limit, but then, you know, the testosterone is only up to a certain level, and you take the same amount every week. Like it's not gonna, you're not gonna take more. At least that's what I would have needed to do in order to keep those gains coming. And now I understand it. That was also like it was.
That's why I was always talking about this, that if I would take shit, I would push it so hard. I think eventually I would be on a lot, because I have a really addictive personality, guys. So I know it's like really tempting with the knowledge that I have, how it would look, etc., how it would feel. But I know I do not need it. I don't need it. I feel great. I look good, if I say so myself. But yeah, that's just a reason why I will just not take it, because eventually, if muscle growth is the only goal, it's never enough.
It was an idea in my head, like it will make training more fun. But that only lasted for a while as well, because then you hit another being satisfied with who you are. And I fell into that trap, man, and I'm completely real about that. It's the biggest mistake I made in my life, you know. No joke. I've made some other mistakes. You said you know, levels were low, you know, but they were in the low range of normal. I said that back then as well. They were not like way below that. I didn't try anything to raise that natural change. And now I've realized that, you know, if I do that, I'll never feel good enough in my life, you know, and I'll never feel good about myself. And this is, I think, a big problem with bodybuilding in general. You know, you just never feel good enough, and you always want more. That's just not the mindset that I want to live my life with. You know, I decided to quit. This was over 12 weeks ago by now, 12 to 14 weeks. And when I decided to quit, because of all those reasons as I just said, first I had to, you know, wait for the testosterone to clear my system. And when you get prescribed here, and guys, this prescription, you're not just going to get it. Okay, it's in the Netherlands. This is very difficult, and I got a lot of questions about this as well. I do have certain connections and money, they change a lot of things. That's the reality of life also. And maybe at the same time, that's a bad thing, because that's why I was able to get it, you know. So anyway, it's Testosterone what they prescribe here. I had to take 2 or 3 weeks without it at all, and then started PCT, and it's post-cycle therapy. And then you take certain medicines in order to restart your natural testosterone production. And the ones that I took were Nolvadex, Clomid, and HCG. So 3 different things. I mean, some people, they say that you shouldn't take them. Some people say that you should. There's mixed opinions on it. I'm definitely not a doctor. You know, go to Greg Doucette's channel or More Plays, More Days. There's definitely more information there. This is something that, you know, a doctor will not necessarily prescribe. So you have to get it on the black market. In the Netherlands, maybe in your country, it could be different. But I decided to go that route. And for me, that worked out very well.
Actually, Merijn, I would never recommend you to do a PCT like this, because it turns out that HCG is an analog of luteinizing hormone. So if you inject HCG, it will stimulate your testicles to produce testosterone, just like luteinizing hormone. Thus, the use of HCG preserves fertility and testicular function during the use of anabolic steroids, for example, testosterone. But since HCG does not mimic the effects of follicle stimulating hormone, which is necessary for maximum spermatogenesis, HCG maintains the quality, but not the full quantity of sperm during the use. So HCG should not be used during your post-cycle therapy, as it artificially maintains testicular function by mimicking luteinizing hormone. This still suppresses the functioning of the hypothalamus and pituitary gland. So it keeps the testicles healthy, but not your brain. Instead, after a cycle or testosterone, whatever, you can accelerate the recovery through the consumption of selective androgen receptor modulators, also called SERMs. So SERMs, as the name suggests, modulate estrogen receptors. Things like clomiphene, what he was talking about, Clomid, can decrease the luteinizing hormone response to luteinizing releasing hormones, whereas tamoxifen, also called Nolvadex, what he was also using, it does not. Tamoxifen does not. Clomiphene also has very rare but serious side effects of things like night blindness. So high doses of SERMs are often used with the idea that more is better, but that is not necessarily the case, and they are unnecessarily risky. So things like 50 milligrams of clomid per day is no more effective than 25 milligrams. So higher dosages of like SERMs, of course I do not know the dosages he used. It's not more effective than just a daily dose of 25 milligrams of clomiphene or 20 milligrams of tamoxifen, also called Novadex. So that already has a sufficient effect. So I would just never recommend using HCG after the cycle. I can get into this in another video if you guys want to, where I can explain science and where we can go through it together for people who are interested, but I just wanted to keep this a little bit shorter, but that's just not how I would do it. And the important thing is that he recovered. Some people recover quicker than others. Honestly, of course, I think he knows this himself. He is not recovered effectively that much, but give it time. And yeah, that's my input on the PCT. I actually sent him my PCT protocol, which I know helped, but he definitely didn't do it. That's his problem. I hope this was helpful. To be very honest, I think it's still, he has big balls. Even though he had small balls and he wants to recover his balls, he really has balls to just be so honesty and transparent about this stuff. And still support him. I think he's a great guy and I wish him the best. But guys, I would just not recommend doing a PCT like this. It could work, but it's not the most optimal way. I hope you liked the video, guys, because this video is pretty long. But I hope you liked it at least and thought it was helpful and you could learn something from it. So I hope you enjoy the daily videos, and if you like the video, like it, subscribe. For coaching, if you want coaching, where I can go through your blood work, and if you want to get shredded naturally in the most optimal way, etc., I can help you get into that photo shoot conditioning, bro. And yeah, hit the link down below if you're interested, and